Hello and welcome back to Project Seawolf. So today we're back on the boat and yeah, thinking about designing the walls for these storage areas so that I can use these as storage areas. And look, I brought the cushions on board. So these are what the Quaterberths look like. This one has a bunch of stuff on it and under it, but kind of for example, we've got this big cushion and then a smaller cushion back here. And that kind of gives you access to that storage thing. And then also these backs come off pretty easy. And you've got this big Quaterberth sleeping space on both sides. And there's going to be tons of storage underneath and in those quarters as well. So it's been a cold, wet summer in comparison to last year. And as such, the holes in the deck that I've made have been collecting quite a bit of water. And that all runs into the bilge. If the boat was in the water, I'd be concerned, wondering if this was salt or fresh water, but I know it's fresh water because the boat isn't in the water yet. But if you'd like to help put it in the water, I've got the Patreon, and if you sign up for $5 and up, I'll send you a shirt. Yeah, and that's the first link in the description. Today we're gonna be pumping out this bilge. The new walls for these storage areas are going to sit somewhere around here or so, all the way across on both sides. That'll add structure to the Quaterberth and also, yeah, walls for the storage. So a lot of reasons to do it. And then also I need to be thinking about what holes I need to plug on the deck, because I don't want to get to fall and still have holes in the deck. Good thing I remember most of the places where the deck was leaking, so I can focus on those bits of hardware first and plug those holes. But yeah, everything is coming together pretty well. Funding from the Patreon has been awesome, helping me get stuff done. And yeah, we got the mast out, the engine out, of course, and just plugging along, getting stuff done with the fiberglass. There's a big problem with having cushions on board. I end up just relaxing. So in the last episode underneath here, we used thickened epoxy to attach some Divinycell foam to create a new wall for the storage. And that is hopefully dry now. I hope so. Yes, it did hold up. And it looks like this dried the way that I wanted it to, which is also good. Sounds pretty good. So now today I would like to build out these walls here and create a separator here, because there's one long storage area here and this one I just want to go here and keep that separate, because I don't want things rolling on here and then going whoop and falling down in here. And then yeah, prepping those surfaces and maybe putting in the walls for those too. So another thing that needs to happen is I need to get this masking tape off. I was pretty concerned using it because I didn't want the epoxy to melt through it and like totally compromise the whole thing. And I wasn't sure if it was all going to come off, but now that I'm starting to peel it off, it seems to want to come off really nice. And wow, look at that. It just leaves a clean line here. And that's just all thickened epoxy that got stopped by the masking tape. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, definitely gonna use masking tape more often, because that is sweet. Okay, so here is the plan. To fill out this storage area, I need to build a wall here. I need to take this out. I need to get all these old conduit holders out as well. You got little flat heads on top, but you can't get at them because of the door. But we got nuts on the bottom, so just get the nut out, and then it looks like come out that way. Then yeah, so I'm gonna make one big batch of thickened epoxy, and then I'm gonna get these in place. I'm gonna clean up this wall that I left gaps up top. I've taped them off now, and I'm gonna fill those gaps. I put some Divinycell foam fillers in there, and then just gonna soak that in thickened epoxy, and that'll finish out the wall. And then, yeah, gonna finish out these walls so that this storage area is also set in place. I also want to take the bobstay off because finally the mast is down, so I can take the bobstay off. And I mean, you can literally see daylight through the bobstay. It was pretty much torn out on delivery. So yeah, did all those miles, all those 80 miles up here and from Seattle, and with a hole in the bow. So yeah, that's coming out. Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot to rebuild up here in the V-berth, but behind here, this also needs to be turned into something that's airtight, because I don't want to smell the stinky anchor line forever. So here's the back of the bobstay. When there wasn't holes from the windlass above me, you could see daylight come through here around the sides. So I guess I'll just, oh. It's not even finger tight. I can literally, I haven't taken a tool to this at all, and it's just coming off. Wow, okay. That's pretty cool. Is this one tight? No. Oh my gosh, we could have lost the bobstay easily. Wow. Well, that's kind of spooky. Okay, we got that off. Let's see what the damage is behind this. I've got a new bobstay terminal waiting at home. I showed it in the last few episodes, I think, when I was grabbing cushions, and it's very, very nice. I don't know if I want to keep this piece of wood. It feels pretty rotten. Okay, so let's see what was at the waterline, or near the waterline. Okay, so there was sealant used. Oh, it looks like the bolts are pretty bent on this thing. Just gonna vacuum down there anyway. See if I can't knock it out with a hammer. I mean, it looks like the, all right, here we go. There we go. All right. Wow, look at that. I believe there's going to be some delamination in there, probably. If I was a betting man. Okay, and that's not good either. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of repair work that's gonna have to be going on up here. Just digging this out and re-glassing it and making it nice again, and might as well make the new glass that I put on fit the new bobstay terminal, so it was gonna change up a little bit anyway. Looks like there might have been a patch job in here, because there's a lot of extra fiberglass that looks like it was laid down in here. So I'm gonna sand that back eventually and see what's going on in there. But the bobstay is almost free. Just gotta take it off the bowsprit. Looking around on this boat, like, at all the work I've done and all the work that has left to do, I think a lot of people like get to this point and they're like, it's way too much work. I don't want to live this life anymore. But I'm just falling more and more in love with this old boat. I really like the model. I really like the history. I really like who the original owners were, and like, this is a really, really cool boat. Yeah, so I could take the bowsprit off, which would be pretty neat. I think I'll do that when I start working on the core, or we're doing filling holes in the deck and stuff. It needs to come off, it needs to be blasted, it needs to be checked for cracks and corrosion. I would love to put it back on if it's okay, but it really needs to get a thorough check, because there could be some pretty bad corrosion on both the plate and the actual bowsprit. But I won't know that until I take the paint off for sure. And I would love to rebuild it the same as it is. I really like the look. So we'll see. Nice to have that open again. Nope, didn't have to use a hammer on that one. So, a while back I noticed the imprints of some screws here, and I never thought to look up, and up in here, there's a screw embedded in the, oh, came right out. There's a screw embedded in the, in the top bit. That's hilarious. I'm sure that'll sand right out or fill or whatever. I need to figure out how to make this whole barn door situation waterproof. Put some rubber stripping or something here, because it's right underneath the companionway. So big waves, a lot of water, electric motor, not good. So I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do about that, but I don't even, it's so far ahead, I've got so much time to think about it. Okay, so for this section, we're going to use 1/2 inch dividing foam, nice and structural. Going to add a lot of support that way, and downwards support. Cleaned it up pretty well with acetone. It took most of the day, but finally I get to start measuring out how big I want the pieces. And hopefully I don't mess it up this time. These screws up here go through, and so I'll be able to use those to secure the divinyl foam in place a little bit. Okay, that's in there pretty good. got this big wall measured out, and I'm going to measure out these small walls and cut it out with the hot knife. Yeah, so instead of using the hot knife, I just use a razor, and it all snapped out really nice. I didn't even get that deep with the razor, so that worked out really well, actually. I like it better than the hot knife. The hot knife's still useful for foam and ropes, but for this Divinyfoam, even the 1/2-inch stuff snaps really nice with it. So I think I'll keep doing that. For this, for the thinner Divinyfoam, I'm still going to use the hot knife. It's kind of complex shape, and I don't really want to deal with the X2, so I'm just going to do what I've been doing with the hot knife. Don't breathe. Don't breathe. Yeah, so these are going to be the side walls for the SETI storage. There you go. There's a new wall. Okay, I've got the walls set up inside on the sides. And down here, I've got that wall taped in. There we go. So I'm just going to put thickened epoxy along the side down, and then down on the seam and up, and same on the other side in here. And I have some spots where I'm just going to inject some thickened epoxy up here and finish out this wall so that's complete. And yeah, so this should all look pretty good and be ready for the other side to be thickened epoxy the next time I'm on here, and then tabbed in with fiberglass. Okay, so the plan is, and what worked last time really well, is to mix the 1-to-1 ratio in here, probably, let's go with 16 oh, man, it's gonna be close, 16 ounces probably. It's gonna be a lot of thickened epoxy, so yeah, 16 ounces probably be good. 16 ounces in there with the hardener, and I actually just got some more hardener in the mail, just a ton of it. So if I run out of this, I've got more waiting. All right, that's 404, not very sandable, but dries super hard. All right, let's get mixing. All right, so it's been about 3 minutes of mixing the 1-to-1 hardener and epoxy. And I don't think I mentioned, but like all this is going into this bag, and then this bag is being used as like a cake decorating shooter to squirt out the actual thickened epoxy. And it's nice to have it harden in there, because then you can let it cook a little bit more. Okay, that's a lot. See how that mixes in. It's gonna be really hard to stir with this little popsicle stick. There we go. I go into more detail about like this whole process in my other recent videos. Yeah, I am learning this process, so if you're looking for expert advice, check out the channel Adam Voyager. He's got some really great epoxy videos. Although he doesn't explain like what epoxy and what he mixes for how long and what, yeah, like doesn't really do a good job describing like the whole process. I think the best way to do that is just try it yourself. Yeah, now that I've done it once, I've really got the hang of it. I mean, I'm one of those people that's kind of a hands-on learner type, so my fingers are just completely in the epoxy now. Yeah, cool. So I got latex gloves, actual latex gloves, because nitrile will disintegrate. Yeah, get some latex gloves. They're also tougher, which is great for like working around screws and stuff, like on a boat. Okay, so the epoxy is mixed up with the hardener, and just gonna put as much of it in this bag as I can, hopefully all of it. The system has worked out really well for the past 2 jobs. Okay, the bag is gonna take it all. That's sweet. So other YouTubers kind of like continuously warned that like the cook time was not very long, and like you had such a short amount of time to work with it. I have not found that the case. It does not dry fast enough. At least with this Pro Marine tabletop epoxy. We'll see with the total boat stuff though, because that might be different. So once it's in the bag, it's kind of just cooking. I'm just kind of waiting for it to thicken up enough so that it stays where I put it. Which is a kind of nice break, and can start cleaning up in the meantime. Okay, I think it's going to be good to start with this big wall in here and the big storage, and get this done, and then move to the smaller storage. I don't think it's thick enough yet. It's still very, very viscous, so I'm gonna wait a few more minutes before applying it. Okay, the epoxy's getting thicker and very warm, so I think now is the time to do this long line here. Try to get it as far into that crack over here as possible. I don't know if you can see it, but it's down in there. So that's gonna start from like the uphill side so that the epoxy runs down. So this whole side is taped, so that should be, so the epoxy should stay in the crack. I think that'll work pretty well. I mean, it's tight enough up here, I could probably do the top too. Somewhat. Save me some hassle in the future. At least where the gap isn't so big, so yeah, basically just this corner I can do right now, because the other gaps are too big. Okay. So that worked out pretty well. Now let's move to the other one. Man, it's hard to film and do this at the same time. Hope you can see. Yeah, okay, so I want to fill these little baskets that I made out of some Divinyfoam chunks and scotch tape, or not scotch tape, masking tape. Another messy epoxy job, but it's better than the previous rounds, I think. Pretty sure I just wanted to fill that with the epoxy there. Yeah. I'll clean up some of the the spillage with acetone in just a sec, or even scoop it up and put it where I want it. Again, another ludicrous amount of epoxy for a job that probably didn't need this much epoxy. But, you know, I had it mixed up. Might as well. Alright, go see if the other side needs more. Okay, while it's hardening, I am going around taking inventory, so there's a large flow there, and there's nothing coming into this weird side cabinet, but as it hardens, it'll get more viscous and more pliable, and so as that happens, I'll be able to scoop it up with my hand with a glove and press it into where I want it to go, I believe. But so far, so there's a large pool there. There's a pool there that I can just grab some from and stick it up on top where there's a little bit of a gap, and then the goopier stuff should stick on the top and help hold it in, and then I won't have to use so much or at all. If I get it all in, then I can just go straight to tabbing that area with fiberglass next time. It's fairly cleaned up. The epoxy is hardened quite a bit. So that's all very goopy, and I got it into some of these areas up here that were difficult to get at with the more viscous stuff. And yeah, that's all in, including the sides and quite a bit of the top over on that side. So it shouldn't take much more before it's ready to fiberglass. So thanks for watching. In real time next weekend is my wedding to my fiance, who's pregnant with my twins, our twins. But that doesn't mean it's a gap, because in real time that's August 5th, and in real time I'm probably in Europe. More information is on the Patreon. I mentioned it earlier, and thanks to those lovely people I've been able to get all this work done. I've been able to get the motor out, I've been able to get the mast off. Just awesome support from all around the world. It's been amazing. But I've got to drive down to Olympia now and pick up Sarah, bring her down. So I gotta go. But thanks for watching, thanks for sticking to the end, and I'll see you next week.